Hello everyone, my name is Aravind Naren and I am pursuing third year B Mechanical Engineering at Coimbatore Institute of Technology. In this video, we are going to see about what is meant by hot dipping and what are the application of hot dipping. So without further ado, let's get started. First, what is meant by hot dipping? Hot dipping is a process of coating a base metal with the help of a molten metal. Why we are going to do this? Because usually the metal will get corroded if you are not coating with another metal. So to prevent corrosion, we are using this process. And this hot dipping method is done on two types. One it is called as galvanizing and the another one is known as tinning. In the galvanizing process, we are using zinc as a molten metal, and in tinning process we are using tin as a molten metal. So first we are going to see about galvanizing and another we are going to tinning. First, galvanizing. Galvanizing is a anodic coating process. What is meant by anodic coating? Anodic coating is nothing but coating a more active metal over a less active metal. For example, we are coating zinc over copper or iron or steel, where here the zinc is more active metal when compared to the copper, iron and steel. So the galvanizing process, what we are going to do in the galvanizing process? The galvanizing process is a process of coating the base metal. For example, we are coating an iron rod by dipping it into a bath of molten zinc metal. This is what we are going to do, and the principle of this galvanizing process. The principle of hot galvanizing process is, first we need to clean the iron rod by soaking into some of the solutions, and after cleaning we need to dip it in a zinc bath, and we going to do some post process to get a fine coating. So this is the principle of galvanizing process, and you may see that this is the picture of the entire galvanizing process, and I'm going to show step by step. First, the process is known as degreasing or caustic cleaning. First, we need to clean the metal. Why we need to clean the metal? Because it has some of the impurities present in the metal. For example, it may have some grease, or it may have some oil, or even some impurities. So first we need to immerse the steel metal in an alkaline caustic solution, so it will remove all the dirt, oil, grease from the surface of the metal. After caustic cleaning, we need to rinse that base metal. How we are going to rinse the metal? Rinsing is nothing but we are dipping that metal into a water. We are dipping in the water for some time and we are taking out from the water. After that rinsing method, we are shifting to pickling. Here the pickling, the base metal is immersed in a acid. For example, here we are using either hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid. Why we are doing this? Because it will remove the oxides and mill scales which has been formed during the caustic cleaning. So to remove that, we are using this pickling process, and after this pickling process we are once again rinsing the metal in the water, so it will clean all the impurities which is present in the base metal. After this we are going for fluxing. What is meant by usually fluxing? Fluxing is nothing but it is forming a coating before we are going to dip in a hot zinc metal. Why we are doing this? Because if we do the fluxing process, it will prevent the oxidation when we are going to dip this base metal into a molten zinc coating. For this purpose we are using the fluxing. After the fluxing is done, we need to dry the metal for a while. After the drying has been done, our base metal is finally ready to dip in a hot molten zinc metal. This process is known as galvanizing. Here our metal is dipped into the hot molten zinc metal, and there are certain stages which has been taken in this galvanizing process. For example, you can see in this picture the base steel. This is the layers of the coating after the galvanizing process. The base steel is containing 100% of iron, and the gamma region containing 75% of zinc coating and 25% of iron, and the delta coating have 90% of zinc and 10% of iron, and the zeta region have 94% of zinc, 6% of iron, and the eta have 100% of zinc. So how much time that we usually dip this metal in the molten zinc? We usually dip this metal for 10 minutes. Is this time is really important? Yes, the time of dipping is really important in the galvanizing process, because this time determines the thickness of the coating for the base metal. After this, we need to do some post treatment, because after galvanizing there will be some of extra metals which will be present on the base metal. For example, some of the extra zinc material will be over the base metal, so we need to remove that. For this we are using some of the post treatment. The method is known as quenching. Here we are using water and some other chemicals to form a protection layer over the galvanized metal. What this is usually doing? It is usually removing the impurities which has been presented after the galvanizing process. And after the quenching, we will use grinding. By grinding the surface of the base metal, we will remove some of the zinc drips and zinc spikes from the base metal. And that's all. This is what is known as galvanizing process. And one important note, the galvanized container is usually not used for food container. For example, for storing the food, we usually don't use the galvanized product. Why we are not using it? If we are use the galvanized container for storing food, the food will react with this zinc metal and it will cause some of the poisonous chemical reaction. After we are consuming that food, it leads to a harmful situation for human. So we usually don't use the galvanized metal for storing the food. And what are the uses that this galvanizing method have? We are usually use this for coating pipes, wires, nails and screws. The galvanized frame and steel frame is usually used for rooftop in construction, and it is also used for door frames and domestic applications such as washing machine and hair dryer. It is also used in computer parts, AC housing and protective gears with high tension electric towers. So this is the uses of this galvanizing process. After this, we are going to see about tinning. And what is meant by tinning? Tinning is similar to the galvanizing process. Here the only change is we are using molten tin instead of using molten zinc. And we are going to see how the tinning process is going on. Tinning is the same process that we are coating the base metal by dipping into a molten metal containing a tin. And this is usually takes place in three processes. First, we need to do some pre-treatment, and after tinning, and we need to do some post-treatment. First, we are going to see the pre-treatment or the surface treatment for tinning. First, we need to do pickling. Here, a dilute hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid is used for this method. We need to dip the metal here for 5 minutes to remove the oxides or scales to be removed from this metal. After, we need to do unhealing. What is meant by unhealing? Unhealing is we need to heat the metal and we need to cool it gradually for nearly 10 hours. It has been heated and cooled slowly for 10 hours to remove the greenish black slime. And after this annealing process, we are using cold rolling by passing through a series of rollers to bring the plate or sheet into a right dimension. After this cold rolling, again the annealing process has been taken place. Here we again heating and cooling the metal at a gradually slow rate for nearly 10 hours. So the pre-treatment has been done successfully. After this, the tinning process has been started. Here you can see that we are using mild steel as a base metal, and first the process is pickling. Here we are again using a dilute hydrochloric acid or sulfuric acid to remove the oxides or scale. And after that we are moving this to a flux. Here the flux is known as zinc chlorides. This is used for a pre-treatment before we are coating the tin. This will does not allow the oxidation while we are dipping the mild steel in the molten tin. So to prevent the oxidation, we are usually using the fluxing process. And after the fluxing, we usually have done in the tinning process where the base metal is dipped into a molten tin. Here the temperature of the molten tin is nearly 250 to 290 degrees Celsius. The melting point of the tin is 234 degrees Celsius. So what we need to inference from this statement, that is the base metal is usually need to have high melting point when compared to the molten metal, so that the base metal will not melt during this process. This is we need to note. And after that we are going to use some oil or grease to prevent the oxidation after the tinning process has been done. And we are going to take out and we do some post processing. For example, we will cool this, and after this we are complete our process. So what we are getting from this tin process, the applications of the tinning. It is used in aerospace industries, automotive industries, coinage, food service, and usually in telecommunication. And it is mainly used in food products. For example, the tinned containers is usually used for storing the food for preservation. And note, I have told that the galvanized container is not used for the food products, but the tinned containers is we are always using for preserving our food, because the tin will not react with the food, so it does not cause any harm for us. And from this I have completed my presentation, and from this I am going to show some of the videos which is related to galvanizing and tinning, and these two videos is going to be an animation video. I hope you will really enjoy this video, so we can see this video.
Guten Tag. Today, I will introduce KMD's copper strip hot dip tinning process. Due to the chemical and physical properties of copper, tin plating on the surface can reduce corrosion and improve electrical performance. Nowadays, tin plating processes are mainly divided into electroplating and hot dip tinning. The so-called hot dip tinning is a method that immerses a base metal in another low melting point metal in a molten state to form a metal protective coat on the surface. KMD's hot dip tinning process is that coils go through degreasing, solder station, drying, hot dip tinning, cooling, coating thickness inspection, and finally become finished goods. We can plate copper or copper alloys with tin or tin alloy by this process. Comparing with electroplating, hot dip tinning can plate tin better on the surface of copper during processing. The contact layer between copper and tin will create a hard and uniform intermetallic phase, which will remarkably reduce the insertion force and resistance of the metal. During long-term use, the characteristics of hot dip tinning, which are low defect density, low internal stress, and low coating voids, can reduce the whiskers generation, thereby improving the stability of the product. The most important thing is that the cost and environmental benefits of KMD's hot dip tinning process are outstanding.
I hope you liked this video. I'd like to thank my sir, Mr. M. Karthikeyan, for giving me this wonderful opportunity to interact using the YouTube. And if you have any queries related to my video, you can feel free to comment in the comment section. And if you like my video, give us a thumbs up. And thank you.